Welcome to the DCTV News at Noon program. I'm Kelsey Kiesling.
And I'm Kendra Cook. The Southwest TV Translator Association underwrites the news, and Dolores County Broadcasting Network provides the support for DCTV.
Here at the News at Noon show, we assemble the best and most interesting news from the area, and Jerry Tope brings you the local weather and related news. Give us a call with news tips or topics you'd like to see covered. The number is 677-4119.
Thanks for tuning in to watch DCTV. Today's show is live on Tuesday at noon and rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m. and again re-aired on Friday at noon, 3 and 6.
Coming up, Gold King Mine Update, Cortez Asphalt Plant, Dolores County Junior Rodeo, and more.
And also, the second most disappointing travel location, a destructive Mancus fire with weather, the Sheriff's Report, and area happenings. Today is May 9th, 2017, and now the news at noon.
An update from the Cortez Journal on the Western Excelsior plant in Mancus that erupted into flames Monday afternoon. The massive fire prompting at least 9 fire departments to send fire engines and crews to the rapidly escalating blaze. The Mancus Fire Department responded to a report of the fire about 1 p.m. and quickly requested help. Mancus Fire Chief Tony Aspremont said his crews started out attacking the fire in the building, but the wind picked up and forced them into a defensive mode. They were forced to fight it from the outside. By mid-afternoon, 9 fire departments and 45 to 50 firefighters had responded to the Mancus Department's call, according to the Cortez Fire Protection District. The Cortez Fire Department sent an engine and a ladder truck. The Dolores Fire Department also sent an engine. Engines were also reportedly heading to the fire from Pleasant View, Toyac, Lewis, Fort Lewis, Rico, Los Pinos, and Durango. The Farmington Fire Department also was sending a crew, according to Cortez Fire Chief Jeff Vandervoort. All Western Excelsior workers were evacuated safely. Fire officials at the scene said, and no injuries were reported. Aspremont said about 5:45 the fire was contained to the inside of the building and that it hadn't reached the massive piles of aspen logs. The fire started somewhere in the middle of the building, he said, and the cause had not yet been determined. About 6 p.m., the wind was dying down and the temperature was dropping, allowing fire crews to begin entering the building to attack the fire from the inside, Montezuma County Emergency Manager Paul Holler said. He anticipated that crews might have the blaze under control in the early morning hours of Tuesday at the earliest. At that time, the top priority for crews was preventing spreading to the trailer court across the street from the mill at 900 West Grand Avenue. Mancus Marshal Jason Spruill said the fire broke out in an old part of the building. It might have started in a tool shed, but he said he wasn't sure. 8 homes were evacuated from the trailer park across the street. Some residents were evacuated, Holler said, because emergency responders didn't know if the smoke contained toxic matter. Residents and the town set up centers for the evacuees, and the town paid for pizza to be delivered to fire crews. Town Clerk Heather Alvarez announced that the Veterans of Foreign Wars Hall in downtown Mancus would provide shelter for evacuees and that water and respirators would be available. The Montezuma County Health Department announced on its Facebook page that it was sending respirators and advised residents to close their windows and shut off their air conditioning. Western Excelsior at 901 Grand Avenue in Mancus processes harvested timber to create erosion control products such as shaved aspen, also known as Excelsior. It also makes erosion control blankets and mats and has been in business since 1977. The company has more than 100 workers and is the downtown's largest private employer. The company is planning a big new construction project which hasn't started yet. The company also has manufacturing facilities in Macon, Georgia, and the corporate offices are in Evansville, Indiana.
In case you'd been missing your dose of Gold King mine spill updates, you just had to be patient. According to the Cortez Journal, lawmakers from Southwest Colorado have not forgotten about the EPA's January decision that it was not liable for damages to private entities as a result of the 2015 Gold King mine spill. Senate Joint Resolution 43, which calls for the Attorney General to consult with Governor John Hickenlooper and the Department of Public Health and Environment and sue the Environmental Protection Agency on behalf of the state of Colorado, was passed Monday by the Senate on a 25-10 vote. Senator Don Quorum, Republican from Montrose, said the resolution was an opportunity to right a wrong done by the federal government and show the people of Southwest Colorado that the legislature had not forgotten them and holds the EPA accountable. If this had happened to me, I can guarantee you I would not be here today. As best, I would be bankrupt. At worst, I would be in jail, Quorum said. As a resolution, SJR 43 carries no power but would be sent to the governor, heads of the Public Health and Natural Resources Departments, State Attorney General Cynthia Kaufman, and the state's congressional delegation. The votes against the measure were from Democrats, who were concerned that the state would be better off asking for the federal government to fully fund mine reclamation efforts in the Bonita Peak Mining District Superfund site and across the state. Representative Barbara McLaughlin, Democrat from Durango, disagreed with the lawsuit approach, but Quorum said, quote, "We need to send a strong message to the EPA. I'm not afraid to carry a big stick and say that we are going to sue the EPA to make the citizens of Colorado whole." McLaughlin is signed on as a sponsor of SJR 43 and will carry the resolution in the House provided it is amended to remove the pursuit of a lawsuit as the only option. Otherwise, McLaughlin said she intends to remove her name from the measure, in which case Representative Mark Catlin, a Republican from Montrose, would be the logical candidate to sponsor it. The resolution heads to the House for consideration.
Reported by the Durango Herald, a Durango man suspected of killing his wife was charged Friday with first-degree murder. Silvino Martinez Perez, 35, faces life in prison or the death penalty if convicted of the charge. He is being held in the La Plata County Jail on a $500,000 bail. According to an arrest affidavit, Martinez Perez called 911 at 12:01 a.m. April 17th to say he killed his wife, Crystal Martinez Perez, age 37, inside their home at the Lightner Creek Mobile Home Park, 907 Lightner Creek Road, County Road 207. Dispatchers instructed Martinez Perez to wait outside the house until the La Plata County Sheriff's Office arrived. Deputies found him on the road. When they arrived, he was arrested without incident. His wife was found lying on the floor, on the living room floor, without a pulse. Deputies administered CPR until medics arrived, at which time she was taken to Mercy Regional Medical Center, where she was pronounced dead. During an interview with sheriff's investigators, Martinez Perez said he strangled his wife and performed a sexual act on her body, according to an arrest affidavit. Their 3 children, ages 5, 6, and 9, were asleep inside a bedroom at the time, he said. In addition to being charged with murder, Martinez Perez is charged with 3 counts of child abuse and 1 count of abusing a corpse.
From the Cortez Journal, the Montezuma County Commission voted 3-0 Monday to approve a controversial high-impact permit that will allow D&L Construction to conduct crushing operations and construction storage on County Road L. The Commission clarified that permit does not allow use of a hot asphalt plant or a cement plant, which were listed in the application as possible future uses of the industrially zoned property, located just outside the Cortez city limits at 25716 County Road L. The potential of those users drew sharp criticism from residential neighbors who have expressed concerns about smoke, dust, noise, and increased truck traffic, as well as impacts on property values. Applicants Dave and Lana Waters emphasized during a packed public hearing that they were only seeking approval to use the 35-acre tract for crushing and storage. County officials explained that as part of the permit application, the Waterses were required to list potential future industrial uses. If high-impact uses other than crushing and construction were sought for the property, they would require another high-impact permit process and public hearing, said Commissioner Keenan Ertel. To appease citizens, granting the permit minus the hot mix and the cement plant will alleviate what we heard here today, Ertel said. It does not prevent them from applying for other uses later on. Added Commissioner James Lambert, the application is specific to crushing and storage. The rest is supposition. Water is used to keep dust down during crushing operations. Also, crushing will only be about once or twice per year, as it takes time to collect material, Waters said, plus the crusher is very expensive to rent. Ertel reminded the audience that the Waterses or a future owner of that property could come to the Commission later for a high-impact permit specifically for a hot asphalt plant or cement mix plant. The issue has been and seems it will continue to be controversial for the community at large.
Reported by the Durango Herald, the Four Corners boasts some of the most stunning landmarks in the West, drawing tourists from all over the world. But it's also home to one of the most disappointing travel locations on Earth, according to a travel publication. So, among the ancient cliff dwellings at Mesa Verde National Park, the ancestral pueblos at Chaco Canyon, the towering sandstone formations in Valley of the Gods, and the pair of buttes that look like a bear's ears, what place could possibly earn such a designation? The Four Corners Monument. The Active Times, a health, fitness, and travel publication, recently released the most disappointing travel destinations on Earth list, with the Four Corners Monument earning the second spot. Can you really be in 2, 3, or 4 places at the same time? The Active Times wrote. No, so what's the point of going all the way out there in the middle of a desert with nothing else to do, to play Twister and bend 4 ways so you can touch a tiny area of 4 states? The Four Corners Monument, recognized in 1912, marks the spot where Arizona, Colorado, New Mexico, and Utah meet, and is the only point in the U.S. shared by 4 states. The Active Times doesn't mention how the Four Corners Monument may be doubly disappointing, given that the marker is off by anywhere from 1,800 feet to 2.5 miles to the east, according to the National Geodetic Survey. However, the U.S. Supreme Court in 1925 ruled the marker at the Four Corners Monument is the location where the 4 states intersect. Regardless, the monument joins these other disappointing destinations. In first, there's Times Square in New York. In second, it's the Four Corners Monument. Third, the Prairies in Nebraska. Fourth, Madame Tussauds Wax Museums. And number 5 is Dubai in United Arab Emirates. And now, here's our weather report.
As far as DCTV broadcast area goes, from now through the rest of the day and the night, we'll see our strongest activity from this storm. Gusts around 40 miles per hour possible this afternoon will seem strong when prevailing speeds are to be between 5 and 10 miles per hour. Pea and dime-sized hail is possible, and that is smaller than the earlier forecast. However, pea and dime size on a wind can mow a crop down. So let's hope the wind does not gust long or with the hail, but gusting is common with hail. Some pea-sized hail was reported in Dolores around 7:30 this morning, along with lightning. Denver area got a walloping from hail yesterday. And on a positive note, our county extension agent says the brown wheat mite won't like this weather at all. They're small and wash away and drown easily. Some years here are so dry that may never happen. So a little relief from that and pollens is all right with many of us as well. Heavy rains are possible tonight and some snow on the higher peaks, but no accumulation is expected. This storm system will change direction tomorrow, and its center will be over central New Mexico, but Durango and Pagosa Springs will still see some heavy rain tomorrow and into early Thursday. Wednesday night, activity will be focused on the divide, and then diminish on Thursday as it moves east across the southern Colorado border onto the high plains of Oklahoma. Thursday and on through Saturday look clear and sunny. The system now influencing the southwest will move slowly eastward and reach the central plains Thursday morning, while the moisture in New England, also moving slowly, exits offshore. So, scattered and numerous showers and thunderstorms are expected from Arizona to the central plains. Greatest amounts are expected from eastern Colorado to northern Missouri, with severe weather possible from Texas to Kansas as Gulf moisture is drawn in. While keeping temperatures well below average in our desert southwest and southern Rockies, the eastern and northeast are also a little lower than average due to the size of this system. The Great Lakes have frost and freeze advisories in effect overnight. Maine has the best prospect for precipitation overnight. Warm and dry weather will prevail across the Gulf Coast region with a high in place there. It will feel like someone left the air conditioner on through tomorrow, with highs beginning in the lower 50s and climbing into the lower 70s by Friday. Lows still promise to stay above freezing in the upper 30s and reaching mid and lower 40s beginning Thursday night. Now back to the news.
Reported by the Cortez Journal, Scotty Abrahams and Kathleen Lopicolo have moved Colorado hydroponics and organics to a new location, 725 East Main Street. The shop sells organic garden supply items, Abraham said. They also help farmers increase their yields by providing information and advice, especially for those growing food crops for sustenance, he said. The market for this is growing. We're trying to capitalize on that experience and interest, he said. The new space is larger than their old location, which was behind Nota Dene Trading Company, Abraham said. It's also a more visible location on Main Street, he said. After 3 years in business, Abraham said he's found a sustainable business that works. The store focuses on the local economy and growers. He enjoys helping out small-scale farmers who come into the store, he said. That's a lot of fun, Abraham said.
Today's climatology piece was inspired by an article in the Earth section of the BBC Online by Jasmine Fox Skelly. In August 2016, in the Siberian tundra in the Yamal Peninsula in the Arctic Circle, a 12-year-old boy died and at least 20 people were hospitalized after being infected by anthrax. That's a remotely and not that well-populated area, so those numbers might be a little misleading. The theory over 75 years ago, a reindeer infected with anthrax died, and its frozen carcass became trapped under a layer of frozen soil known as permafrost. Then a heat wave last summer thawed the permafrost, exposing the reindeer corpse, releasing infectious anthrax into the nearby water and soil, and then into the food supply. More than 2,000 reindeer grazing nearby became infected. This then led to a small number of human cases. As the earth warms, more permafrost will melt. Normally, superficial permafrost layers are about 50 centimeters deep and melt every summer. Now, global warming is gradually exposing older, deeper layers. Permafrost is the perfect place for bacteria to remain alive for very long periods of time. The temperature in the Arctic Circle is rising quickly, about 3 times faster than in the rest of the world. As ice and permafrost melt, other infectious agents may be released. Biologist Jean-Michel Clavier at Aix-Marseille University in France says permafrost is a very good preserver of microbes and viruses because it is cold, there is no oxygen, and it is dark. Pathogenic viruses that can infect humans or animals, including some that have caused global epidemics in the past. Apparently, some are preserved in old permafrost layers. In the early 20th century, more than 1 million reindeer died from anthrax. Most of these carcasses are buried close to the surface among 7,000 burial grounds in northern Russia. Scientists have discovered fragments of RNA from the 1918 Spanish flu virus in corpses buried in mass graves in Alaska's tundra. Smallpox and the bubonic plague are also likely buried in Siberia. In a 2011 study, Boris Ravich and Marina Polonaya wrote, as a consequence of permafrost melting, the vectors of deadly infections of the 18th and 19th centuries may come back, especially near the cemeteries where the victims of these infections were buried. NASA scientists successfully revived bacteria that had been encased in a frozen pond in Alaska. In the 1890s, there was a major epidemic of smallpox in Siberia. One town lost up to 40% of its population. Their bodies were buried under the upper layer of permafrost on the banks of the Kolyma River. 120 years later, Kolyma's floodwaters have started eroding the banks, and melting of the permafrost has speeded up this erosion process. What's more, global warming does not have to directly melt permafrost to pose a threat. Arctic sea ice is melting. The north shore of Siberia has become more easily accessible by sea. As a result, industrial exploitation, including mining for gold and minerals and drilling for oil and natural gas, is now becoming more profitable. At the moment, these regions are deserted and the deep permafrost layers are left alone. However, these ancient layers could be exposed by digging involved in mining and drilling operations.
Reported by the Durango Herald, Southern Ute tribal members voted in record numbers Thursday to distribute millions of dollars to themselves versus letting tribal government keep the funds. It was a lopsided vote with 95% of votes in favor of distributing the money. The vote was 611 to 35. An additional 38 ballots were spoiled. It is the highest turnout in at least 3 years, according to the Southern Ute Drum. As a result, tribal members will each receive about $30,000 within the next 45 days. That is in addition to $45,000 they each received late last year, according to ballot language included with the referendum. Tribal members who fought for the funds said it could help them pay off debt, purchase cars, invest in businesses, and pursue other dreams. The funds are part of a $125 million lawsuit settlement in which the tribe accused the federal government of mismanaging monetary assets and natural resources dating to the late 1800s. Dozens of other tribes filed similar lawsuits known as the Sisseton lawsuits. The tribe, which is not subject to open meeting and open records laws, has offered little rationale for why it distributed 60% of the funds, why it opposed distributing the remaining funds, and what it had planned to do with the remaining funds. As a result, tribal members will each receive about $30,000 within the next 45 days.
The Dolores County Junior Rodeo for 2017 is right around the corner. Their goal is to create a family-friendly rodeo where they can educate and influence the area youth in becoming all-around cowboy or cowgirl athletes. The event dates are May 20th, June 17th, July 15th, and August 13th. All are held at the Dolores County Fairgrounds just west of Dove Creek off Highway 491. The venue will be open to the general public if you want to come out and watch some of the action. 11 and under check-in begins at 8:30. The rodeo starts at 9. 12 and up check-in at 11:30 with rodeo starting no earlier than 12 noon. Call-in entries are due the Wednesday before each rodeo, and entry fees will be due at check-in. There are 2 categories for the youngest groups, where 5-year-olds cannot participate in both categories. For 5 and under, there are participation prizes only, with $5 for all events, which include pole bending, barrels, dummy roping, and stick horses. The saddle or tack series are divided in 2 categories: 5 to 8-year-olds, $25 for all events or $10 per event, and 9 to 11 with $25 for all events or $10 per event. The events include pole bending, barrels, flag race, goat flanking for the younger group and goat tying for the older ones, dummy roping for the younger ones, and horseback dummy roping for the 9 to 11-year-olds. Then for the saddle or tack series for the older kids, they can pick only 5 of the 7 events offered, and 1 must be a roping event to qualify in the all-around competition. For 12 to 14-year-old girls and boys, it's $35 for the 5 events, and for 15 through 19-year-old girls and boys category, it's also $35 for 5 events, which include pole bending, barrels, breakaway roping, goat tying, flag race, steer daubing, or steer stopping. It's fun to participate or just watch. Western dress is required. Come on out to the fairgrounds 4 miles west of Dove Creek off Highway 491 and make a day of it. A reminder that no dogs are allowed at the fairgrounds, but for more details, call or text Jeremy at 560-2491 or Matt at 301-0649. Yeehaw!
And now for the Dolores County Sheriff's Roundup for the week of May 1st through the 7th. A suspicious vehicle was reported by campers at Box Elder Campground. The vehicle was missing its license plates and appeared to have no occupant. It was learned that a vehicle belonged to victims of a double homicide that occurred in Williams, Arizona. The vehicle was returned to the custody of Arizona officers. The homicide cases are still under investigation by the Coconino County Sheriff's Office. A report of juveniles riding ATVs up and down town streets was made. The deputy was unable to locate the riders. While excavating, a nearby business owner reported a found wallet and other items. A deputy responded with the owners of the property. The missing wallet was a cold case reported back in 1991. That's it for today's roundup. Stay tuned for continuing updates.
For today's High Canyon Country happenings, the 13th annual Ute Mountain Mesa Verde Birding Festival is May 10th through the 14th, with special presentation by Kevin J. Cook as the 2017 UMMV Birding Festival's keynote address, 200 miles of birding in 200 years. On Saturday, May 13th, that takes place at 7:30 p.m. at the Cortez Conference Center, 2121 East Main Street in Cortez. There are tours, a banquet, and an art show. For all the details, go online to Ute Mountain Mesa Verde Birding Festival.com. Here's a note from Say What Announcements on Facebook. The Battle Rock Charter School Enrichment Program for homeschool families has information for homeschooling families. For more details, go online to battlerockschool.org. And Osprey is holding a local sale this Friday, May 12th from 7 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Osprey headquarters in Cortez at 115 Progress Circle. There will be lots of new items from the company's spring 2017 product line at the sale, as well as some that were left over from the last local sale in October. Items will include men's and women's packs, technical packs, luggage, and travel items. A portion of the proceeds from the sale will benefit the Montezuma School to Farm project. The Breast Cancer Prevention Partners Climb Against the Odds also will benefit. The Climb is a fundraising campaign that benefits breast cancer prevention and culminates with a team of climbers that will summit Mount Shasta in June, according to the group's website. Go online to ospreypacks.com for more information on their product line. All of the happenings are posted on our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page, along with the embedded YouTube replays, weather, and original stories and local posts. To share your event or information, contact us at dcbnnews@gmail.com or call us here at the station, 677-411-9, and we'll be sure to get your news on air.
Thanks for tuning in. This program airs live at noon Monday through Wednesday, then it is rebroadcast at 3 and 6 p.m., and again re-aired Thursday, Friday, and Saturday in the same order at noon, 3, and 6.
And be sure to check out our DCTV News at Noon Facebook page. It has all the links and details with original stories and the video replays. Please like us there and share the link.
For Kendra Cook, Jerry Tope, and everyone at DCTV with the News at Noon program out of Dove Creek, USA, I'm Kelsey Kiesling. Thanks for watching.